You just can't deny it, right? Like, there's not anybody who's listening to, yo, that drop was whack. Yo, his vibe is not fire. It's just music.
They don't know.
Just like that.
They don't know.
Wow.
Hey, yo, this is Black Mob. We got Glory to my left and to my right.
Which camera? All of them? There's like 17 cameras in here. That one?
Is it this one? That's Solitair's camera.
This is like a real, like...
Right here, Solitair.
This is like a real, like, film studio production. I did not realize what I was getting myself
You're
into.
far too kind.
I don't know if all my angles... Make sure you get my flattering angles.
Yeah, get the good side. Get
I
the good side.
got the one, the only, the man behind the scenes.
In the darkness.
The man in the darkness. The man you should be looking for.
He's a artist, producer,
Yep.
activist,
Yep.
and a black man that loves his people. Like he truly loves his people.
Yeah, all
If you
his
follow
lyrics.
him, he loves his people.
Yeah.
And all his lyrics are never there to stray you onto the wrong side of the
Yeah, it's
dark
advice.
side.
I mean, I only know one way, there's always someone listening,
No doubt. And you know what? Honestly, I wish Canadians, I wish more people would know that. I wish more people would know.
That was slick.
I wish more motherfuckers would know.
That was slick.
A Solitair produces out the song. Come on now.
This is the original What Toronto People Say joint.
So it goes.
I'm with the man, Solitair.
Peace.
Hey, we out here mobbing.
Yes.
We're never lying.
Memories.
Multiplying. And we're here. Honestly, I just want to thank you so much for coming out here because I'm a stan majority of the time. And I hit you up. I'm like, yo, we got Shock the shot review here actually working the magic here. He's the engine. He's working. He's the one who's working.
We're both working in different arenas, different areas. Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, like, this is the most humbling experience. Like, this man, I'm trying my best to make something happen. He pulled up and he's like, yo, we're gonna talk. And here we are.
And guys like him make our job easy because they're so humble.
Oh, I'm not humble. I'm mad arrogant.
Oh, excuse me.
I got that from you a little bit too. It's all good.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about
arrogant.
it, he's kind of rude. I'm playing.
Mad conceited. Like,
he told me not to look in his eyes, yo. He told me when he came in the room, don't look in my eyes, man. Do
We
not look in my
appreciate
eyes.
you. We appreciate you coming here.
Thank you.
Man, where the frig do we start?
Actually, you know what? Let's get to the nitty gritty. Where did you grow up? What neighborhood did you grow up? Like, what intersection?
I thought you said, you know what? You said that so close. You said, what neighborhood did you rob? I was like,
No, grew up.
Grow up.
Yeah.
I heard Rob.
Thank you. I grew up at Dufferin and St. Clair. Like, I didn't grow up in a hood. I didn't grow up in I grew up in a neighborhood that was predominantly Italian. So I make a joke that I was Italian until I got to high school when I started like actually meeting like other. I had my cousins and family, of course, obviously, but my school friends were all like Italian and Portuguese until I got to high school, and that's when I met my lifelong friends. And so Dufferin and St. Clair. So yeah.
So who'd you meet first?
Marvel.
Oh shit!
You don't even know Marvel, do you?
No, he doesn't.
He's literally put everybody on it. Like, he literally was there before everybody.
Marvel was my first friend that I met at church. You ever heard his first single words of? Where he's like, me and Solitair was sipping altar wine in Catholic church. Half of it's dirt. We were altar boys at a Caribbean Catholic church. Yeah. So he was like my first friend, and then he introduced me to Cardinal when we were like, maybe like 14, 15 might have been the first time that I met Cardi, who was Kool-Aid at the time, who was already an artist, like performing, doing like everything that I was like, oh, this is cool, this rap shit. Like Kool-Aid was already doing that. So wow, that was the initial connection.
And then like you and Cardi, like you guys are like two peas in a pod. Like you guys
same energy.
Like was it just instant for you guys to just kind of just like on some music shit? Like, yo,
I was a novice. I didn't really know anything. Like I was like, we would rap. Me and Marvel were rapping, you know, at little talent shows, and I was like just getting into the music. I was like, me and my brother were listening to the Power Move show and the Master Plan show on like a clock radio, just like learning about hip hop. And then by the time I met Cardi, Kool-Aid at the time, he was doing it. They had a crew. They had songs, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I was just learning the novice stages of like just discovering how I could actually do it. So,
So did you learn from him? Like in terms of being an MC?
I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from Marvel. I learned a lot from everybody. I always say, looking back on my career, looking back on what I do, I am the sum of my influences. Everything that, like, I try to take what I respect and admire about every artist that I come across and incorporate it in some kind of way. Either it's melodies or it's kind of like lyricism or production style. Like, it's definitely everything that I do. I just try to not like recreate it. I try to draw from it, influence, and do something different. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, and so in that sense, I learned from everybody that I came up with.
Mm-hmm. And then, I kind of want to focus on the production part.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Because, you know, for the people who are actually in tune with Canadian rap, know about Solitair, the MC. But I'm not quite sure if they know about Solitair, the producer.
And you have a lot of people under your belt, though. Like, a lot of notches. And big notches, too.
At what point did you, like, learn to produce and, you know, create beats and...
Almost pretty much simultaneously as I was rapping, because, you know, I guess my first level up into the understanding the complexity of the music world was when we started off with Fresh Arts. Fresh Arts being kind of like the predecessor to what is now the successful, amazing Remix Project. And that was when we had mentors like, you're talking about people like Motion, you're talking about people like DJ Power, you're talking about
Salute,
you know, Verl. There was everybody that put Michael St. George, like there was a group of, you know, black leaders that were still at a time. There was, you know, obviously there was no social media. There's none of this. It was like mail, phone, in-person flyers. You know what I mean? So anyway, going back into the history of, you know, Fresh Arts, they started this thing called Fresh Arts, and we were mentored by artists that had studios and had, you know, like had performances under their belt. So, and that was kind of like the process of learning how to produce, learning how to write songs. Remember going to DJ Power's studio. Wow. They had the what was the name of their crew? Oh, was it the Blacklist crew? It was Motion. Anyway, they had this studio. Though that was my first time like seeing an SP 1200 in person. You know what I mean? Like, so. Yeah, that was some memorable times. But that was, I was pretty much learning to rap and learning to produce pretty much at this.
I got to ask this question because I'm always fascinated with this. You grew up, was it Caribbean Catholic? I didn't even know those two things could even go together.
Have you met a Haitian person before?
Pardon?
Have you met a Haitian person before?
Have I met a Haitian person?
Yeah. Majority
of the time. I have, just probably didn't know it.
Majority of the time they're Catholic too.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of Catholics in the Caribbean.
Yeah, because when I think Caribbean, when it comes to, you know, religious attachment, I think, you know, Pentecostal, 7-day Adventist.
There's a few.
But never Catholic.
Yeah.
Your parents.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You got into the music. What were, I'm curious, what were their views on that?
Oh, they didn't like it at all. They're like, that's nice. You know, when you graduate from university, you can you know, try a little.
They wanted you to be a doctor, lawyer.
They just wanted me to go to school. They didn't even care what I did. They just wanted to make sure that because a West Indian parent is like, get an education. And they were right. But I was like, I'm an artist. Oh, this is cool. Oh, I can go on tour and get paid to do music around the world. Like, you know, I'll go to school. But I didn't really know. I was always in the arts. So as an artist, my first foray into becoming an artist was acting. That's what I started off doing. I was doing theater pretty much before I even realized I was doing theater. I was always doing performances since I was like, as far back as I could remember. Not really, no, but I was always doing theater. Like doing speeches, public speaking competition, plays at the church, at school every year. In high school, I took theater. So I was doing performance before I and so music just translated. It was just like, I was taking music lessons at the same time. I was taking piano, I took guitar. So I knew about music theory, but I didn't really have a musical inkling. I was just kind of like, I was always into the arts in some form. So so music, and then touring and getting on stage and doing music, and then performing it, which was something I was already doing. It was like, okay, this is probably what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
How'd you link up with Cypher?
That was through my manager at the time, Mr. Morgan, who was managing myself, Cardinal, the Rascals.
Is that the Mr. Morgan that is like the head of OVO?
That's
Radio?
correct. Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Shouts out to Mr. Morgan.
We'd like to have you on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him. I mean, I don't know what his time is like.
Yeah. He's probably really busy.
Wait.
He might be
we got places. We got time in October or some shit.
Maybe on some Zoom. Like maybe.
Yeah,
we'll fly out to LA. We'll go to LA. We'll fly to LA.
I mean, let's manifest it.
But Mr. Morgan at the time, Cypher was looking for a new producer to work with. He was working with Nina Sky. They had the record "Move Your Body" that was taking off crazy, and he was looking for a producer to work with to make the beats. And then Nina Sky came to Toronto to do a show. And I remember I heard the song, and I was like, the song was obviously a hit at the time. So they were touring, like doing the Toronto, London, or whatever. So I came to the Toronto show. They were in Mississauga, and I saw them perform. I was like, oh, these girls can actually sing. Like they're not. It wasn't just a gimmick. Like it wasn't like they were lip syncing on stage and they sounded horrible.
Yeah.
They were actually singing live. They were performing. They were dancing, and they were twins. And it was like, oh,
yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm in. And then I went down to New York, and we ended up working on an album that's what your first experience of, like, you put all this work into this album, and then it gets shelved, they get dropped, and then all that music is there. And then they moved on, and but we, it was a crazy experience. I was like back and forth to New York for like 5 years or so.
Well, how do they treat you down there as the Toronto?
Well, it was, the thing is, me and Cypher kind of the same. We're both introverted extroverts. So we were not necessarily, and to this day, people, like, you see how people say, like, I'm humble.
Yeah.
It's not, understand that humbleness does not mean I don't acknowledge my greatness. That's the difference. I think it's, for me, when people tell me that they appreciate what I do, that's like, it's almost like, yeah, I know. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I'm grateful because that's the acknowledgement that is meaningful. It's not about me going out and saying, like, I acknowledge what I've done is great. I acknowledge the impact because I get that feedback from people who know. But I'm not the person that says, yo, do you know who I am? It's kind of like, it's much more powerful when somebody in the room is like, yo, do you not know who this guy is?
Yes. Instead of saying I'm great, somebody else.
The greatness speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like when to me, being humble.
But you gotta talk your shit once in a while, man.
But I do though. I do when you listen to my music. My music speaks for me because my commentary is always on point. Like, you go back and you listen to what I was rapping about when I was rapping back then to the things that I'm saying now. It's who I am. It's the content. I remain the same. The skill level is still coming at a high level. I talk my shit through my music.
And this is how I know you're great, because at the time certain songs came out, I didn't really appreciate it. Fast forward 20 years later, me in my 40s, and hearing the things you're talking about and how relevant they are today.
Today.
Yeah.
We're talking about 20 years of aging, going through the process, and it connecting. I'm like, yo, this is a fucking great song. And you listen to what he's saying. It's some real life shit. That's shit right. That I wish that my cousins, my younger brothers and stuff would listen to and be like, yo, what you're going through is not unique, man. Listen to this. This guy is giving you life advice that could protect you and prevent you from dealing with some shit out there. And I'm just like, wow, Solitair is amazing.
That's
like real shit.
That's what matters to me.
Yeah.
To me. And I talk about.
I'm sorry.
We can get into a lot of stuff. We can get into a lot of stuff, and it could get pretty deep into that rabbit hole because that is very personal to me. You know, changing the trajectory and the perspectives of a generation of kids who are out here like doing the craziest shit, and it's, you know, and I saw it then, and it's like. A lot has changed, but nothing has changed.
No. You know what? Though?
Amplified now.
No, nothing.
To the point where it's celebrated.
No, nothing tops that Vaughn thing when those kids drove in the Vaughn Mills Mall.
But it's like funny though. It's funny,
wild,
right? It's funny. It's wild, and it's like what to me. Okay, not to get too deep. And I don't really have this conversation because you can't really have it unless you're dealing with people who are sitting around a table who say, okay. Like it's pandemic time. We asking people to stay home. Stay with me. We're asking people to stay home so they're not working, but they need to buy food. We're going to give them $2,000. Like that sense of urgency is how we have to sit down and deal with our community and the fuckery that we're dealing with these youths. It's that serious. And until you're sitting around a table with people who are stakeholders and influencers and are willing to have that real conversation, like fuck the bullshit of red tape and like how it looks. We're trying to solve a real community problem. Yep. I don't want to get into that discussion because it's like then it becomes like, you know, what we could do and this and then the funding and it's like, you know. So that being said, you know, it's very frustrating when I see what's going on in our community and not really being able to be an impact. So I try to do what I can. You know, I try to be a presence. I try to be a voice of reason. My dad, one of the lessons that he always taught me that will stay with me is he's like, you always got to say it. People may not listen or they might not catch it at the right time, but you have to continue reading. It's like marketing, right? Yeah. You got to see real. It takes like 7 times before the message sticks in your brain to be like, oh, that's what you mean. But you got to keep saying it. So I just try to be, you know, the voice in the ocean that's like, yo, you know, you can see yourself a little bit different.
Yeah. And I think that's why I dedicate like my platforms to, you know, Canadian artists, because I feel like for the most part, Canadians listen to people across the border, listen to their music. I'm like, oh, listen to what our guys are saying. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're coming from the situations that you're coming from, you know, the circumstances. Yeah. Listen to them. Now
here's the thing, because now you're talking about, like, we're talking about art. We're talking about artists who create that are, you know, a community artist. I guess you could say that I am, like an activist through my music. But then you realize that music is a democracy. People, like, there's the reason that music is popular, that the songs that people are listening to are these biggest songs. They're choosing. Nobody's forcing anybody to make these artists who are being successful. But
why are they choosing that when we got?
Because people have everybody wants to watch the train crash. Yeah. Everybody wants to see the controversy. Yo, fear and consumption. Like, the formula never changes. You know, people, you get what you consume. The algorithm is not wrong. Like, it will reinforce the things that you're interested in. So, like, pop records, they call it popular music because a lot of people like it. Whether or not you rate it, and whether or not it's like as a artistic piece, like, does it have merit or whatever the case is, people like what they like. And hip hop is evidence of that. Who the audience is regardless of, you can talk about who the audience is, but people like that shit. And that's what's popular. People like to gravitate towards, you know, sexy bitches popping.
But hold on. I want to take
all the negative shit. I see it in myself. That's how I know. Like, you like gangster movies? Yes, you fucking do. Yes, you do.
I don't.
We all do. There's Ratchet song. Listen, Gucci Gang was my fucking song. When I go, I mean, I didn't like listen to it. I might even have listened to it in the car. Like, I understand it, but the difference is listening to it. Like, where do you separate the art from the life? Because when you realize that the art has real life implications,
and I think that's a problem because either the art's imitating life or the life is imitating art.
I think it's going both ways. It's all blurring.
It's bleeding into each other. Yeah. And at what point do you say, "Yo, these are people that are my people"? Dying behind this shit.
Yeah, but some people don't give a fuck and they say, I just want to make money. I want to make money.
But we're also consuming that.
Exactly. So they will sell it to people if you find the audience. Remember, just guys are talking about people getting canceled. It doesn't matter. You can't get canceled. You just got to find your audience. As long as you find your audience, who cares what anybody else thinks?
Another person said that. That's
who cares?
consensus.
And that's where we are right now. And now you can create your bubble. You can filter. You can block people that disagree with you, and you can listen to whatever ratchet shit that defines you.
I guess that's my issue because I grew up in a time where the consciousness of black man's consciousness or the black people's consciousness was the mainstream.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to be.
It was the mainstream. Even if you got the street shit, there was a message in the street shit.
Yeah.
Now it's just like death threats, ops getting killed, spinning the block a couple times.
Yeah, we have a saying here. No op music over here.
Wait, see, okay. The other stuff that you're talking about is out there too. There is out there, but what is popular is the ratchet shit. Why is that?
And that's my issue.
But that's not the artist's fault.
Yeah. I guess my issue is that the fact that the artists are creating it and consumers are.
You're talking to somebody who believes, I believe in role models. I believe, and here's what I always say to people who argue like, yo, you know, control your own kids. I'm not responsible for your family. I'm not responsible for how you interpret the things that I say, this freedom of speech, yada, yada, yada. Yes. Okay, fine. Once you become a public figure, I'll start by asking you this. Was there music that your parents said, hey, don't listen to those songs when you're a kid? Like, yo, don't listen
songs,
to.
Yeah.
Did you stop listening to them?
No.
Okay. So the parent argument of like, yo, parent your own kids. I'm not responsible. If your kids are listening to my song, that's your fault. It's like, no, okay, that's a cop out. First of all, because kids are going to listen to what they want to listen to, right? True. So when it comes to like the music that is popular for these kids, like you are a role model to them. They look up to you. Period. Whether or not you choose to acknowledge it and say, I'm going to try to balance my message. Yeah, it's fuck bitches, but go to school too. Like if you want to do that as an artist, you can do that. But if you wanted to say, yo, listen, I pop pills, I fuck bitches, I'm in the club, I spend $100,000 in the strip club, you know, because I'm that guy. Yeah. And I have, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't give a fuck what you say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're influencing people.
Absolutely.
And you could choose to do that, but recognize that you are influencing young people who have no father figure, who have no understanding of self-worth outside of the clothes that they have on and what they can afford to buy. Like they're looking to you for their identity because they don't have, you know, they're poor, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever their circumstances are. And you're saying, I don't give a fuck. Like you handle that because I went through my shit, you know, and you have every right to do that.
Yeah.
Right? That's where the freedom is, but you are a role model. Period.
Yeah. And I guess I feel like maybe like a sense of urgency, right? Because I'm a father myself, right? And when you hear stories about, like, for example, the shooting that happened at, I think it was Weston Collegiate, the 15-year-old being shot at school, and then me hearing just today that, you know, the poor boy passed away. I'm just like, yo, like something's got to change because it's been like year after year, like of the same conversation, and it just gets frustrating, gets draining, feels like a losing battle, and I'm just like, what the frig? And then when I hear certain music, spinning the block, the ops, repetitively from various artists, I'm just like, holy shit, when are we gonna wake up and like, yo, this is not conducive to black people. Like, we need to, you know what I mean?
At least and I don't say this. It sounds callous, but you gotta save yourself. You save yourself, and you bring the people who can hear you with me, and you speak to everybody else. But you know, they call it cliches or whatever because there's an element of truth to it. You can only lead people to the water. You can't make them drink. You know?
That's fair.
And you know, there are people who have insurmountable obstacles that are preventing them from seeing that, but. I mean, listen.
Yeah.
This podcast is that's like a whole separate podcast.
So I wanted to move the questioning to some more nerdy shit.
Yeah, let's do the nerdy shit. You can get some more of that crown though.
You have a production credits for Lil Wayne?
Not officially, but Lil Wayne at the time, I think it might have been before he was dropping the Carter. There was like. We gave him a beat tape, Cypher Sounds and we gave him some beats,
Okay.
and he recorded the verse for some record. I think it was called, I don't know what it was called, but it didn't have a chorus. But then it got leaked. And, back then, when a record gets leaked, it was like, okay, it's done. But it got leaked. I think all hip hop might have, like, there's a few blog sites that, but they didn't know, it didn't say who the beat was by. They just said new Lil Wayne, because there was like, momentum was building, anticipation was building for his next project. I want to say it was the Carter 3.
What was the name of this track?
I didn't have a title.
Oh, fuck.
It didn't have a title. But what I did is
Lapmop did his research.
I took the verse, and then I put it on a mixtape that I did back in maybe it was like 2008 or something. I think it was called YYZ.
Forgive me, I'm not sure, but have you done any beat creations for any other genres outside of rap?
Yeah, R&B, definitely. I've done
because Afrobeats is really big right now, and I think you would smash that.
I've got some Afrobeat stuff that I've been working on for yeah, I've got some stuff in the tuck, but I haven't. I want to like dive in. It's the thing about Afrobeats is it's the right artist too, because I think it's like it's not. It's easy to just be like, I'm gonna make an Afrobeat song, and then
I have an artist.
Okay.
I mean, we'll talk off camera.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely. That's one of my favorite.
Absolutely. You know, the thing is, like, I just found out recently, and it makes sense, right? Like, we actually have Toronto native dancehall artists, Afrobeat artists, soca artists here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Authentic.
Authentic.
Yeah.
And it's like a whole new world to me. And I'm just like, yo.
Yeah, they recorded all the studios here.
Yeah. No, not from overseas. Like,
guys here.
Yeah.
And they make noise overseas.
And I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, like naturally to me, I'm just like, yo, this is where, instead of putting yourself in that box, like, yo, let's branch out. It's black music. And
there's not, you know what, I will say, I haven't seen, I'm trying to develop a star. There's a couple of artists that I work with, but I haven't seen as much talent as there is, there's not a lot of stars.
What makes a star?
What makes a star is different from every person. Mm-hmm. Every person that is memorable, like the first time, like who are some of your favorite artists? You could probably tell me the first time you heard them, and you could take me through the journey of what.
50 Cent definitely comes to mind.
Right.
Are you thinking like homegrown or just
no? Any of your favorite artists, period.
50 Cent.
And why do you like him?
You know what? I find with all the guys I put in that category, it comes down to personality.
Right. You like them.
It's that.
And they're obviously they got to be super dope. Yeah, but I'll tell you the funny thing about me is, for me, sometimes the talent, like there's artists that I like that aren't necessarily the greatest, but they're stars.
Yeah,
and
charisma,
they're unique.
Yeah.
And I would say that the first time I heard Smiley, I was like, that guy's a star. I was like, yo,
you know, as crazy as it sounds, I agree with you.
First time I heard him, I was like, his voice doesn't sound like anybody. His flow doesn't sound like anybody.
He sounds like a phone sex operator, but it's going to work.
And he's got confidence and personality where he's like, listen, it doesn't really matter if you think that I'm nice. I know that I'm nice.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And that's a star. Most of the artists, like you're finding them, they're like, okay, Afrobeats is hot, so let me try to find my way to be an Afrobeats artist.
And it sounds kind of corny.
You know what I mean? Like that's why I like being a producer, because as a producer, you can be a chameleon as long as the sound is authentic and you find the right artist. But that's what a producer is, and that's why I'm like, I can do a song for an artist and say, you want an Afrobeat? What's your vibe? What are you going for? But if I'm trying to produce you, it's like, yo, I'm trying to make the biggest song for you ever. And how do we do that for you? You know what I'm saying? As the artist. And then you look at the artist and then you gauge, okay, are they beautiful? Are they attractive? Okay. Are they an undeniable talent? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
And that's where it's rare. You know what I'm saying? So you'll see there's Toronto has a plethora of artists that are super talented. It's like talent is one thing.
Yeah.
Stardom is another.
And it kind of reminds me of Cardi B, right? Because it's not necessarily her music, but her personality.
She's a star.
Yeah, she's got that star quality.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Idman to me is a star. See what we mentioned? Idman, she's a star. Idman is a star.
We'd love to have you on the podcast. I won't say your name because
Smiley is a star.
Yeah. Him too.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. And there's people who I see to me are stars, but it's hard to get the right shot.
So, can I ask you this question? Are there any potential stars, Canadian born, that you would like to work with? Are you able?
You just named like 2 of them.
Well,
I told Rich Kid. I'm gonna tell Rich Kid again. Well, I mean, she's kind of I forget who she's signed to. She's like, she don't need me. It would be an honor to work with her. I think that I can create something great for her. But yeah, Idman for sure. I'm trying to think of
any up and comers.
Give me some names, because I hear people all the time.
Okay. There's a duo. They're called Cartel Madras.
They're from Montreal, right?
No, they're from Calgary.
Calgary. Oh yes, they're from Calgary.
I'd have to. You know what? I was gonna let me retract that. Don't give me names. Play me the songs, and I'll tell you. Because I don't know the names. I'm bad with names.
What is there? There is Roadrunner. There's Bushman.
I've heard of Roadrunner.
He has a unique voice. I like his voice.
I heard of Roadrunner. He's from Toronto, right?
Yeah. There's Pressa. And then there are the rappity rap dudes.
Yeah.
You know, Junk from Vancouver.
I prefer the rappity rap because I mean, it's like club songs to me all sound the same.
So I was gonna play some like I don't know. This sounds cool. Let me know if you would work with
yeah, let me hear it.
Ass so biggie and titties on perfect face like a kitty, you know when a bitch worth it.
Are they from Montreal, you said?
Calgary.
A little bit too much lurking.
Are they related?
Saturday night with the permit. I got big plans, you know when a bitch working.
No, I know them.
Bitch working. Don't know what to order because they don't know what I'm serving. Don't know what to look for, didn't know they were searching.
What is this, like techno or?
It's like house.
On the track and it got your toes curling. Making my eyes lock when the beat drops, cutie. Got the
house
hip hop,
is,
big rocks on duty. We got the lips.
I think this would be like a great challenge for you.
I like it.
Yeah.
Got a big thick bag and you move it real slow. I slick
I like it.
and a bitch band
Yeah, I like
it. It's a vibe.
just to keep you on the flow, telling all my.
I mean. These are one of the people I'm on. They're on my radar. They're really good music too.
And I'm glad you did that because when it comes to the female rappers, Canadian rappers, there's maybe a handful I could name, but I feel like they deserve some or more recognition, to be quite honest.
You know, deserve recognition is one thing. Like
Paris Richards, I think is dope. Nana Goody, I think is dope. Who else?
Taylor G.
Taylor G's dope.
She is dope.
Taylor G.
Taylor G, rather.
Yeah, I heard of that. I've heard
Rax.
music from all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few names out there. You know,
there's a lot of talent.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of talent.
But stars.
But I mean, and I say that from like the perspective of, you know, not that I've ever worked for a label, but like just understanding what it is when it comes down to like if you're trying to be successful, if you're trying to sign an artist as a record label, you want them to be, you know what I mean? Like that's where they have the high level record label, and then they have like the boutique labels, right?
Yeah.
And
I know exactly
you know,
There's a lot of boutique labels
and I say
out there.
I don't mean I'm talking like not to be like, you know, and it is the boutique label, but it is what it is, right? Like it's like there's niche artists or whatever the case is.
Reality.
And then if they blow up, then they're like, okay, great. And then we'll give you like the major distribution because they want the stars. They want the stars. So I think that, you know, there's a lot of talented artists out there, but there's not. It's not. You know, there's only one Drake. There's only one Justin Bieber. And then there's the Justin Bieber clones. Like there's Drake music right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's Drake.
Big Apple.
Everything's Drake music.
Big Apple was on our podcast a couple months ago, right?
Okay.
I'm assuming you know who Big Apple was.
I am aware.
And Black Mom asked him, "Do you think Canada is next?" And then Big Apple says, "Next? How is Canada next?"
I saw that clip.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? I guess basically he was alluding to like we have no infrastructure, we have no execs, we have no A&Rs, we have no, QC.
Subjectively, it's all subjectively.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
I mean, I would agree in terms of like Canada being next. It's like no, I don't think it's really like is a country going to be next? No, it's going to be a sound that's next, and that sound can come from anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Afrobeats is the sound of now, but Afrobeats been around for a long time, right? Yeah. But now that's the sound. Yeah. And it's like there's artists that are Afrobeats artists from all different areas of the world. So I don't even think it's a matter of it being Canada not being. I would in that sense, I would agree. Yeah, Canada's definitely not next. What's the Canada sound? Yeah. Canada is a whole spectrum of genres.
The craziest thing
I guess I know he's talking about hip hop, but you know what I'm saying.
The craziest thing I saw the other day, I saw Korean Afrobeat.
There you go.
Korean dudes with the Afrobeat.
And it was probably fire.
It was amazing.
Of course it was fire.
It was amazing.
It's so easy to recreate sounds that you want to, like, you know what I mean? You want to be a Afrobeats artist, like, you go to Splice, you get some Afrobeats.
I can see people having a problem with that, though.
Huh?
I can see people.
Some people have a problem, but it's
what's the problem?
It's fire.
What's the problem?
I mean,
you seem exasperated. What's the problem?
No, not exasperated. A little tipsy, but
what's the problem with that? That's what that's the culture, right? That's the culture.
If it becomes like a thing,
if they don't recognize where it originated from, if they become bigger, if they become, that happens all the time.
You smart.
That happens all the time. How do you control that? How do you control that?
Yeah, there are no gatekeepers, but yeah, I could see it. I mean, just
be dope. Just make doper shit. Yeah. Overpower it.
Yeah. Because I feel like there's like...
I'm saying that, but it's obviously
when it comes to
easy.
Other races, doing what we've created, the question then begins, yeah, you guys are there to take all the good stuff, but when shit gets real, you're never there to, support black people and ray.
That's an interesting conversation to have, and I know people are super passionate about it, but in a sense, I'm over it because there's no point spending time. Like, how do you police that? How do you change that? How do you influence that? You can fucking talk people to death over conversations. And in that instance, it's like the only thing you have power over is your faculties to be able to do what you want. What, they say, be the change that you want to see in the world. Having discussions about it, breaking down, that's definitely, there's people who are doing that kind of important work, and this somehow turned into some deep fucking podcast, which I'm fine with. I don't know how many people want to listen to this, but
we're all over the place.
Hopefully everybody listens to it. But that's anyway.
I like having like deep conversations. Like I've been hearing the surface level conversations for so long. I'm like over it. You know what I mean?
I'm always just self-conscious about who wants to actually. That's why I kind of, you know what I mean? I'll only engage in it if people ask, but I'm not, on Twitter like idiots. Mm-hmm. I like reading it, but I'm like, it's so pointless to get into that discussion. And it's like, like what you like. Mm-hmm. You can, and I think that you can tell for the most part, if you are discerning, if you say you love music and you're discerning and you support local talent, because that's really what it comes down to. You can say I love music and whatever, but when you go to see a show from somebody who's dope that you've never heard of and go in and like show them some love, or does it have to be at the ACC? You know what I'm saying? Are you going to College Street to check out like the local live music band?
Chances are,
if you love music, or you love music because you want to go. Anyway, there's levels to it. So if you love music, then you can tell what is authentic. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be like authentic in the sense of, are they honoring the culture, or are they literally, are you just kind of perceiving them to be a culture vulture just because they're a white artist?
Yes. Huh? There you go. I think that's what it is, because automatically people are triggered by race. So the conversation is like, is it appreciation or is it appropriation? Mm-hmm. And I think just based on race, people will call it appropriation. I kind of like to dig deeper beyond that.
It's always deeper.
Yeah.
And if you stop at the surface and you're like, that's what it is, I'm like, okay, cool. That's the end of discussion. Yeah. To me, there's only certain people that I'm willing to engage, because you have to understand that it's always deeper. There's always nuance. Always nuance and context to everything.
So let me get your nuanced take on this. Eminem, is he a guest in hip hop?
No, he's not a guest in hip hop.
Woo, Lord Jamar, you hear that? Okay,
Jamar?
Okay, break it down, because he's the one who kind of like sparked that conversation by saying Eminem is a guest in hip hop, and I'm assuming he's saying that because Eminem's white.
Lord Jamar is to me like an OG. Like there's no question about what him and Brand Nubian and that, generation of hip hop has contributed to the culture.
Absolutely.
So I understand and respect what his perspective is on it. But to me, Eminem came up the way that any other MC that I ever came across, I heard him on a mixtape. And I was like, before I knew he was white, I was like, yo, who the fuck is this guy rapping?
Yeah.
Then I found out he was white, and I was like, this guy's going to be huge. You know what I mean? Just from understanding that there's a lot of white people who are consuming hip hop. And the reason you knew he was going to be huge, not because he was Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice is a whole other story.
Nice.
It's because he was fucking nice.
Nice,
He was undeniably talented and incomparable to anybody else. You could even say, he rapped some demonic white boy shit about raping his mom. Sure, you didn't like the content? Absolutely. But the talent?
Yeah, the technical
was
skill is
unquestionable.
undeniable.
Nobody
Yeah,
was like, that guy's whack.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it spread. I think it was a cassette tape I heard that on. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say to me, he's not. You can say that he's white and he's had a privilege, and Eminem will sit there and tell you himself in his songs. He said it many times.
Yeah.
But he's not a guest in hip hop. He was rapping and came up just like he was poor. He was working at a fucking pizza store and he loved rap. He would ride the bus, write his little raps, paid his money to go to the studio, came up the same way.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not a guess, man.
Yeah.
You earned your stripes, period.
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation to have.
It's a conversation, sure.
Yeah.
And it's kind of subjective, but from the outside, from somebody like me who was like, kind of like, how old is Eminem? Is he 50?
He's definitely 50.
So,
he's
you know what I'm saying?
He's
Like,
50.
he was kind of like, I was,
He's 50, yeah.
on the trajectory of being a fan and just like being a consumer of music. I was still kind of cutting my teeth as an artist and a producer at them times as well. So it was like, yeah.
So I wanted to dive into your time when you with your venture.
I have many ventures. Which one are you referring
Black
to?
Jays.
Black Jays, okay.
Tell us more how it started. I know we're pressed for time.
Black Jays. This guy came with Black Jays at the tail end.
He's got a. He's got.
we got. I know. But we're gonna try to not sum it up, but
Let's go.
tell me how. When did you turn over the car and be like, yo, we got to do this together and make it pop?
It was always just a in the moment, like family crew thing. Like we would just come up with different ideas. That Black Jays came about after we were touring. After we toured, it was myself. Oh, sorry. It was Cardi's tour. I think I was on it. Wylook was on that tour. I think Tara Chase was on that tour. Who was the DJ? I can't remember who DJ. I can't remember who the DJ was. But yeah, and then after we came back from that tour, we're like, yo, we should just kind of like put together like a collective of artists. And then I can't remember specifically how it came together, but that was the origins of it.
And did you add Ray Robinson?
No, we did a remix for Ray Robinson.
Oh, got it.
It was a Black Jays remix. He had that song Be the One, and then I did the remix. I produced a remix for it, and that was crazy.
Yo, I gotta dig deep into your production because I'm just like,
No, he has like I said, he has a lot of.
Okay, so we know like we're strapped for time, so I gotta ask you, right?
Okay.
Who's on your Canadian Mount Rushmore of rap?
Oh my god.
Objectively.
Objectively.
Checkmate.
It's hard to be objective. I mean, I guess I could be objective. If you're gonna be objective,
try your best.
If you're gonna be objective about their,
We're trying to get them views up, so we want some controversy. Adam Bombs, Mount Rushmore went crazy on TikTok.
They did actually.
Holy smokes!
I don't know.
Come on.
Okay. Objectively, Cardi's on there.
Okay.
Objectively, I mean, okay, I'll say the obvious one for last. Objectively, Mishy's on there.
Okay.
Just for, what she's done for, like, at the time when she was doing it.
You're the first person to mention her. Two more.
Maestro.
Bang, bang, bang.
Damn. Great picks.
I try to.
Please, sir, look into that camera and finish it off. This is official. This is official list.
And I know I'm on the spot, so I know I'm like there's gonna be a name.
It's official, guys.
Like,
it's official. This list is official.
It's coming out, Solitaire.
It's official.
Mount Rushmore. Fuck.
It's tough.
There's not a lot. I will say that there's a lot. There's a lot like of legends, but there's not a lot of Mount Rushmore level.
I can tell you right now.
Okay, I'm gonna you know what, and maybe it might be not objective, but I would say Socrates.
That's a perfect 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna get any pushback on that, which I'm kind of bummed about. Okay, production now. Hold on, stop. He's a producer.
I know.
Okay, worldwide.
I want to talk about when he had the label.
Okay, hold on. We still got 4 minutes. Producers.
Yeah.
Name, I guess, your top 3 or 5 producers that you admire, you look up to. Okay?
Top 3, top 5.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Timbaland, Jay Dilla, Primo, just off of his like catalog and like influence. Dre, Dr. Dre.
He's got the perfect pick so far. I'm cheese.
I'm going to be interested about your last pick.
It gets dicey here. It gets dicey.
You know what? Jermaine Dupri.
Shit, that's a good one too. One that really people probably would just like overlook. Maybe not remember on the spot, but
Jermaine Dupri
overlook.
Jermaine Dupri he's a lot. He's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe you aced that.
And he's like across the board.
Yeah, no, I'm mad.
Did you manage Estelle at some point?
Me? No, I wish.
So what was the situation with Estelle?
I just met Estelle. Like that's another one of those like artists that I bet. This was through Mr. Morgan. I think he was, networking across the pond, and he came across her like early before the Kanye record, and she was just like, UK, just super. They're like here, like just talent, just like dripping. And the thing is, what I would say is different between there and here. I think now Toronto is kind of culminating around a sound. UK. I would say the difference is because of their accent, they always had a unique sound.
Yeah, always.
They had like so many different styles. Like they had new genres like every 6 months. Their style and like swagger was always different. I have to tip my hat.
I would like to see more Canadian artists collaborate with UK artists.
There's a couple of them happening.
Yeah, I see Genghis Khan. He's
crazy.
Yeah,
he's nuts.
He's been on that way for a minute.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
I recently came across him. Like I hadn't heard about him for many years. He is one of those artists that I remember coming up when he was. I think it was called Khalifa or whatever.
I remember, it was something along those lines.
Yeah.
Khalifa.
Anyway, I remember he came to like the studio that we had with Choclair back in the day. Like, so I remember him from then. I recently was introduced to him, and I was like, oh, this guy's still releasing crazy music too. So yeah, shouts out to him.
Yeah, shouts out.
Besides the fact that you aced the Mount Rushmore questions, you know what I mean?
I
I'm sad that this interview.
I want to hear what the controversy is. Let me hear what other people said.
We'll tag you.
We'll go. We got a couple more segments.
Okay, so
I won't rush it. This is
okay.
This is a good part.
Adam Bomb. Are we talking about the Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, I want to hear what the controversy was.
So he put Tona in there.
Okay.
Decisive. I think it was those two he put in there that people are like, on the Mount Rushmore.
Interesting.
Tona and Decisive, which I could kind of understand and see why people would be like, what the fuck? And he did not have...
they're both very nice MCs and incredible artists in their own right.
But on a Mount Rushmore, it's like...
I'm a huge Tona fan.
I am too.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah.
He's another one I remember like watching early. I was like, if Canada's infrastructure were different, they would be stars in their own right. And they are stars.
Yeah.
I mean, just like
what do we need? What do we need?
I always hear that phrase. What are we missing?
for
infrastructure, man. Like the actual hip hop, like, you know, where are the venues that across Canada that we used to be able to tour and do like small venues, like how rock bands can go like and do like 3 or 4 different shows in one night here and go to London and do shows and go and hit all the major markets because there's a network of like, you know, shows and venues that they can develop these talent. Like to me, a lot of when we say there's no stars, like a lot of these people are like the music has become so accessible that there's not a lot that goes into the artistry of performance and actually being able to put on a show and actually have everything work together.
Actually,
I mean,
freaking
Beyonce just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like these stars just don't have. Lil Uzi Vert, you know, just doesn't happen. Lil Yachty doesn't just happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that there's an illusion, there's a misunderstanding, and a lack of appreciation for that level of like artistry to be a star. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of people who could recreate and kind of like go to the studio and no team, no sleep, and where, you know, you're making like you're churning, you're doing all the things that you're supposed to do when you're hustling to be an artist or whatever, rather than taking a step back. And I say this to artists as well. And I mean, I say it from a perspective of I'm not trying to be in that world. I'm an artist and I release music, but I'm not trying to compete in terms of that. Yeah. I do it for the love.
Yep.
Not that I don't care if people like it or not. I want people to like it, but you know, I'm not necessarily existing in that sphere. But I tell artists all the time, I'm like, they'll come to the studio and they'll record a song. 80% of it is kind of questionable. You know, they're still figuring out their sound. But once in a while, they'll be like an artist, and I'll be like, yo, that's actually pretty dope.
Yeah.
Record 5 more of those and then choose one to release because you got something, but it's going to take you time to develop and become consistent. Give yourself a year. And 9 times out of 10, they release the song the next day on SoundCloud, and then, you know, and then they move on, and it's like they're not building towards anything. It's like they're just following the rinse, cycle, repeat of the music industry. And I think that's kind of one of the negative aspects of where we are as far as like streaming and
I don't think it's going to get better,
music.
Unfortunately.
It can, but it's you know, it's the artist, it's the fans really that has to demand more. That has to be like, yo, I'm gonna buy vinyl and I'm gonna go to the shows, and it's got to mean more to the fans than I'm gonna just put on a streaming, you know, stream Afrobeats and just put on a playlist.
Do you think rap has become like low hanging fruit where everybody feels like they can do it?
Yeah.
And there's no passion in it. There is no working on.
I think there's passion. I think there's passion about, you know, wanting to be a celebrity. There's passion about wanting to, like, you know, have influence. There's a passion about, you know, the perception of the lifestyle of making music, but there's not a lot of passion about being an artist and being different.
And that's the issue.
And, you know, because that's a harder road to follow. You know, there's a certain amount of integrity you have to be like, you know, I'm like, you know, Weeknd is a great example of that. Because I remember when he was coming out, he wasn't even doing interviews. He wasn't taking pictures. He didn't even know who this motherfucker was.
No.
But he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to put out music and let the vibe speak for itself. And then, you know, and in the background, he was still developing. He was still creating a sound.
I know. I just found out what he looked like 4 years ago. I'm just like,
no way.
But I mean, like that level, where that's what I'm saying. Like, and Canada is not really set up in that way for black music to be able to create that. That's why you have to go to America, because they have hubs for that. It's happening here. It's happening here, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
You still got to, you know, you're still trying to sell songs to American artists.
Quick question. What's your relationship like with Carnell right now?
That's my brother.
Yeah. And is he, what is he, A&R, or like he's an executive at Def Jam, or
he's
what's his title?
He is a global, and he's head of global A&R, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
So it basically, he's you know,
he could sign artists,
recruiting artists, like putting them up. Like he doesn't sign them, but he can.
I get it.
He brings them to Def Jam. He can, you know, I don't know what the structural. Not I'm at liberty to discuss it, but basically, he's discovering artists.
I think you would be a great exec.
I know I would be a great
like the way you think and the way your mind works.
Label shit on me all the time, but it's okay.
Really?
Yeah.
What, like,
why do you think that is?
Like what aspect are they shitting on?
You know, it's because it's hard. It's hard to get into, and once you're in that system, like there's a certain level of influence and, I guess prestige that comes with it. It's not, there's not that many label jobs as it is. It's a hard industry as it is. So it's kind of a closed loop. And I don't say that with any. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of
it's real
sizzle in there,
Who
but
cares? Let's
at
not
the same time,
apologize for it.
I know that my track record in terms of like the artists that I've worked with and what I've done like speaks for itself as far as what I know I could recognize talent. But
Ricochet, who you're obviously familiar with, also said that the people in those positions aren't from our culture, so they don't recognize that.
Some of them are. I know some of them.
Okay.
It's not fair to say there's just not a lot that they can do. It's not a, you know what I mean? It's kind of like they still got to answer to people that we don't know who matter, like the accountants and the shareholders and the people who are like, yo, so you're signing this artist and you're going to invest this this budget of, how are we going to make money? And it's no longer a matter of like, you have to, just like in anything else, you have to be passionate about it to be like, I'm going to spend my money and risk losing it because I believe in your talent level. But at the label, it's a bank. They're like, nah, maybe if they have enough successful artists, it'll give them more money to maybe try. But even still, there still has to be like, you got to be like, what is it? Because talent is so, in a lot of ways, nowadays is more subjective than it is objective.
One more question before we go.
Okay.
Does an artist need a label?
Depends on what you want. Yeah, I know, and yes. If you want to perform, if one day your goal is to perform at the Super Bowl, then yes, you need a label. If one day your goal is to be able to make money off of your music and tour, and you're selling merch and you're creating your own brand and you're working on your own time, you don't need a label. No.
There we go.
All right. One more thing before we go. We may have a panel, in the future with a lot of guys.
I'll be back.
Not me.
We will.
Yes,
we will have a panel. Yes. All right. Cool.
For sure.
All right. All right. This is episode
515.
No, 516. 515.
515.
Yeah.
No. But
so
hold on a second. Hold on.
I was gonna say that's impressive.
No. It's impressive for him, but the show didn't really start till I got here, and that was about 8 episodes ago. I mean, I'm just saying.
If they want the rest of the 500, they have to pay me in an NFT.
No, they just want the 8 that I'm on.
Is this going to be an NFT? You said NFT?
No, this won't be an NFT. But
did you do all your research in Chat GPT? Is that where you came up with the questions for the show?
Yeah, I did. This is Steady Mobbin. This is episode 516.
It don't matter.
516.
Glory's here, baby. And so
we got
is
Solitair in the
Solitair.
building. We're gonna leave out with one of his songs. It's called.
Yeah, we should do more fun. This is kind of like I'm almost halfway depressed leaving this.
Well, hopefully, this brings you back.
Yeah, this brings me back.
When you come back, we're gonna do a shot review with you.
Okay.
Welcome to love. This is love. You see.
This is me just being an artist, like just creating a vibe.
Something not everyone will get a chance to experience. So when you find
Sorry for making you
your
depressed.
true love,
It was me. The black questions are depressing.
in love, from the first time I looked into
That mix is fire.
And that's you, right?
I mixed this song.
Wow, that's amazing.
Written, produced, mixed.
Amazing. You should do a lot of this. You should be.
I have more stuff in the tub.
Yes, sir.
I'll send you the guy I'm thinking about for the Afro beats. Like,
Okay.
I won't let him know anything. I'll just send it to you and tell me what you think. Because I like to bring people together.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. It's the only way.
Yeah.
Yeah.